You woke up in a forest. Somewhere above, bees drifted lazily through the branches. Massive branches crossed the sky above you. Vines hung from giant trunks. The air was warm, filled with the scent of summer trees, damp leaves, wild honey, and distant sea waves. The light slipped through in narrow golden beams. It felt like one of those mornings, at the beginning of an adventure. There was no time to admire it for too long. This world had already made the rules clear. Only 2 lives. So you started your journey. And the trees seemed to grow in layers, one over another. Mushrooms appeared to be edible. Nearby, there was a large one. It had a spear, but looked calm enough, so you decided to try to feed it. That was a bad idea. Its little eyes became evil and it began to attack. It seemed to lag behind, but no, it's chasing you. The escape ended in a pit-like cave. It felt safe there. Then the mushroom dropped in after you. There was nowhere left to run. One corner, one mistake, and the first life was gone. You was high above the ground, among dense crowns of leaves and heavy limbs of wood. Birds called somewhere beyond the branches. Bees still floated lazily through the morning air, and for a few seconds the whole forest seemed almost gentle. Time to move on. Along the way, you saw the strange creatures. After finally getting enough stone for proper tools, the next problem appeared. A zombie. Not the usual kind either. It hit hard enough to make the answer simple. Run. The shoreline offered space, at least for a while. Water stretched beside you, bright under the sun. But the sound coming from it became more and more terrifying, like something large had shifted beneath the surface. Light flickered over the waves. Is it just in wind? Either way, you kept going. Night arrived. Shapes waited near the edge of the forest, so the sea became the safer option. You dove in, swam out, and bought yourself a little distance. A winged thing came first, something between a bat and a bad decision. But at least that fight ended quickly. A small group of zombies became a meal by accident. Not a good one, not fresh, but still food. Then the shore finally turned quiet. Moonlight spread across the sand. The ocean kept its slow rhythm. Cool breeze moved in from the water. For a little while, it felt peaceful. In this game, calm ocean ambience and open shoreline create that same sleep-friendly contrast between darkness and safety. Then more shadows emerged near the forest. Another wave of zombies. What is this flying dark matter? The next pile of food was ready. After a spider attack, there are tiny spiders spilled out around you. They were hard to injure. Somehow you fought back. That's all. You survived. After that, everything became quiet again. The water looked still. The shoreline had stopped moving. The last of the rotten meat was enough to bring your strength back. You slipped beneath the surface and let the noise of the night fade above you. Underwater, there was nothing to chase and nothing to fight. Only muted light, drifting motion, and a silence deep enough to feel borrowed from another world. When you came back up, morning had already arrived. The sea looked pale and clean in the early light. The forest seemed less hostile than it had a few hours ago. Somehow, against the odds, you survived the night. On the shore, a strange creature was resting in the warmth of the morning sun. It looked unusual. With nothing to feed it, there was not much else to do except stand there for a moment and enjoy the same sunlight yourself. In a distant place, someone are burning in the sun's rays. You returned to the forest and walked deeper, examining the strange trees around you. In daylight, the forest looked different again. The giant trunks, the hanging vines, sun rays between massive branches. There was another stretch of water that was somewhere between a river and a lake. The last of the darker things from earlier finally caught up with you and disappeared for good. You still got mushrooms again, but you won't risk feeding them to anyone else. Enough maybe for stew later. Then you began fishing. A calmer kind of work, the sort that lets the world slow down around you. It slowed down a little too much. The air ran low. By the time you noticed, drowning had almost done what the monsters couldn't. With barely enough health, you hurried to cook the fish. Some wood, a little patience, and finally, fresh, tasty grilled fish. Warm food helped you. A few more zombies wandered in and disappeared just as quickly. The hanging skyvines were impossible to ignore. Hanging in the distance, they appeared both mysterious and intriguing. That was enough reason to keep moving. On the way, you found some weird-shaped berries. They seemed not poisonous. It appeared so unusual. You also gathered blue-colored berries. You dreamed of taking a closer look at these strange, mysterious trees, covered in hanging vines, finding the most beautiful spot, perhaps at the very top, to build your own cozy house and live there. You found the melons. Sweet, cold, and far better than rotten meat. There was a crow nearby. You noticed it, thought about feeding it. An explosion cut the moment short. The places you wanted to explore remain a mystery. For now, at least.